Responding is the member from St. Catherine Northwest.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I congratulate the Minister and the industry for all the things that they have achieved over continuously over a very long period of time. I've heard the good news presented by the Minister, but even the Good News Bible still had revelations as a part and a chapter. At the end. But at some point, we must ensure that we seek to create an end that isn't revelation. I've heard the Minister speak to something that sounds quite exciting about the number of flights that are coming to Jamaica and the new flights opening new frontiers to Jamaica. Yet, when one looks at the document, you recognize that the level of dependence on the United States is still maintained. Over 70% of the persons coming to Jamaica are coming from the United States. This is similar to the last 10 years of approximately 70 to 73% of visitors to Jamaica coming from the United States. I see the Minister indicating 63. However, I think in the document I saw 70. In the past it was 63%. Okay. But you have indicated, Minister, that we have reversed in differentiation. I understand, but I would hope that my 5 minutes is not a debate. But the Minister will be allowed to respond, because the size of the United States have not increased or diminished over time. The dependence on the United States have caused for a statement made by the Minister that simple things like a lockdown in the US had great impact on our arrival numbers. And the effort must be for a greater differentiation of markets. At one point, we were going strong in England. At another point, we're going strong in Canada. One concern that one must also be considering is the level of seat support that we're offering. I saw no mention of that, but it is not unusual that to open new frontiers, there's a subsidy offered to these airlines that are going to then be coming to Jamaica. That subsidy must be placed in the price of opening these new frontiers, and we would love to know that the public is informed if seat support is being offered to those entities and the level of seat support that is being offered to those entities. Additionally, excitement can be found in the Jamaica First statement. But the Jamaica First statement must also be a part of the consideration for the benefits of the industry in the most direct Jamaican, i.e. the employees. I wonder if Jamaica First is the reason for the high levels, local first, that the locals employed to the entities. Just recently we saw many demonstrations in hotels because the locals were dissatisfied with the remuneration and treatment that they were receiving in some of those hotels. Indeed, it is necessary for us to consider a special hotel minimum wage because the circumstances of the hotel workers are not the norm of a regular 9 to 5. There is no person who is serving as a waitress that can say, you know what, I'm going to wash my face and bathe and ready up because time is finished before she finished serving the person. Period of time. There was a point in time that we considered the security guard for a special minimum wage because the perils of the job, including the time of travel to and from job, if you're on a particular shift, must be considered as well. Those local first also include investors. We can see some of our members here from Westmoreland that can tell you that Negril is suffering because the small and medium-sized entities are being outcompeted by larger foreign-owned entities that are causing for lower prices, that are causing for a disbursement of investment, that have more new properties, that have greater brand recognition, especially in these markets that they're going after, that benefit from larger promotional budgets, and they are dwarfing the, take out the next 3 minutes that he was debating. They are dwarfing
You have to sit, member. House Leader, the member's time for speaking has finished.
House Leader, I think we should afford the same courtesy as we.
Doesn't work like that, House Leader.
How long did
House, the question is that the member be allowed 2 additional minutes to complete. Member, please use it wisely.
Yeah, the same, it doesn't work like that. The same courtesy isn't extended. But that is fine. So thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member, please, this is not the best sitting to start these types of discourse. The minister gets more time than the member who is responding, who normally gets only 5 minutes. So the timing is based on nothing other than what is given in the standing orders and the leniency of the speaker. So you are giving leniency. Please do not allow anybody to distract you so you may complete in the time. Thank you, member.
Well, local first, Minister, let me, Madam Speaker, let me hurry up, should be extended as well to our small and medium properties that are suffering, that are also most affected by competition from Airbnbs, and the program must be in place to sustain and to protect the existence and profitability of our small and medium-sized entities as well. We heard exciting news about the craft market. However, we have recognized that craft have dissolved into almost a retail industry, with Chinese craft being the most dominant presence in most of the things. We have seen that there's also very limited protection for design, to the point that persons that attended Edna Manley see no true benefit unless they have a place within the craft market, because their designs are not satisfactorily protected. Finally, because of the context of time, we would also want to recommend to you the Minister of Entertainment's conversation last week, where entertainment can be used as an attractor to Jamaica. We have been dependent on climate differentiation. That's why we call those coming from the north bird tourists. They fly south for winter. And you're now seeking to contribute to a new climatic differentiation for the summer months. But the summer months, entertainment can be used as a chief attractor. We can build out the Sumfests of this country. We can build out the entertainment brand that Jamaica has established, to use that instead of climatic differences as an attractor. So again, we congratulate you, Minister, and as well the industry. But we are acknowledging the challenges that we can face if local first is only a slogan and not implemented on behalf of the workers, of the small and medium-sized hoteliers, in particular the West, and on behalf of the Juta tours and the taxi operators who have been squeezed out of the industry to this point. As well, we can't be giving all these work permits to persons that the skills exist in Jamaica to work in the hotels, including entertainment. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thanks for being here.
I see you turning your mic up. I see you turning your mic up, but not on.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to respond directly to the opposition spokesperson pro tem on, on this subject. Madam Speaker, the member raised some very important points, especially in relation to local first, because it is that reason and more why this concept and the strategy of local first is introduced. You recall that it was a manifesto indicator for the last election, that we were satisfied that because the industry had reached what we call the critical mass, that is, now we are where there's a ratio of 1-to-1 visitor stopover to population. and the big players of the world are now interested in you. The big investors are coming. And the models that are now being utilized relating to vertical and horizontal integration threaten the very basis on which we have driven the industry in the last 10, 15 years in particular, where our effort is to have a stronger retention of the tourism donor in the local economy. And so the infrastructure required for that, we have been slowly putting in place, not sufficiently, Madam Speaker, and that we acknowledge small countries like ours have that problem. But we have trained more workers in the industry than any other government in the history of Jamaica. Trained and certified. I established the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation in 2017, which is a pathway certification facility to enable competent workers on the job who are not certified to be certified with international certification from the American Hotel and Lodging Education Institute, from the American Culinary Foundation. And since then, 25,000 workers of the tourism industry are certified with that designation. They can leave now and go anywhere to work. And the truth is that when we go to other countries and we go into hotels, we are shocked to hear, Minister, I come from Trelawney. I come from all over, because they have what we call portability. They are now able to peddle their wares with certification. They have stackable credentials that they can move around with the world because we have certified and trained them. We went into high schools, and now, last year, 358 students graduated from the 33 high schools that have a program that gives a certificate in hotel management and customer service, and in some levels, associate degree. We've gone further. Talk about the entertainers. We established the first entertainment academy that we are now training fit for purpose entertainment and entertainers for the industry, supported by local impresarios and local producers here, working with us to train them. DJs are certified DJs. We went further. We established the Gastronomy Academy. And 2 weeks ago, before I left for the market, we graduated the first 2 executive sous chefs in the history of Jamaica, 2 ladies who are now working at Hyatt Hotel in Montego Bay. You don't have to clap for that. But these represent the steps that we are taking to professionalize the industry and to deal with the issue of low salaries. Because it is not always by legislation. It's by building capacity to produce more, to add value, to be able to innovate in the workplace. And so it is answering the question that he raised. The last point that we want to make on this, Madam Speaker, but a little 101 is necessary sometimes, so as to ensure that the right questions are asked.
No, Minister, you have 3 questions remaining, and it would not be a new statement by Minister. So there are 3 members waiting to also ask questions. The member from St. Andrew South will go first, based on the fact that so many mics were on and off. And then Westmoreland Western, and last is the member from St. Mary's Central, in that order.
Thank you for your guidance, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, it would be remiss of me if I did not answer the question in relation to seat support, because I do think that this is a very important consideration when members are trying to establish the cost of the market initiatives and also the cost of airlift into our space. So just to make the point that the new market of South America that we are now annexing, the airlines are all what we call scheduled charters. And therefore the support that is needed from them is not seat support. It's marketing support, which is part of what we do. And so, to answer your question, there's no direct support for seat for these new markets. The final point that I wish to answer, Madam Speaker, is the issue of the small hotels and the problems. We are responding to that. And we established, as you remember, $1 billion at Exim Bank, which has been on lent to small players, small hoteliers and small players, at the lowest interest rates in the country, a total of $25 million a time, to assist them in dealing with upscaling and building capacity to respond to some of the marketing challenges that they have today. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, thank you for your statement and for your response to the opposition's reply to your statement. I have two questions. One is relating to the 5x5x5 vision. You indicated that that began in 2020, so this would be the 5th year of the 5. And you say that Jamaica is firmly on course to achieving it, but you've said that the projected arrivals for this year, 2025, is 4.3 million, and that the earnings are projected at 4.6 billion US. Both of those are below 5 million visitors and $5 billion. So I was wondering on what basis you say you're on course for achieving it. The other question I have relates to the Jamaica, well, what do we call it? The local first concept, which really should have been the essence of our tourism policy from Jamaica first got into tourism. And I think the lack of focus on that has led to a model of tourism which now needs to be reoriented to be greater value added in our local economy. So we certainly support this concept, and we've been espousing it as well. One of the vexed sectors, and there are several, but one of the vexed sectors I know is transportation in Jamaica, where there's a sense that the vertical integration of the larger players, foreign-owned players, are excluding local service providers in various areas, and transportation is one. I noticed that you have 6 technical working groups that are being established, but I don't see transportation mentioned in any of those, and I was wondering where they would fit in within that structure. And related to that, and this is a sort of fundamental question, is how far do you envisage us going in ensuring local first? Because, you know, there's exhortation at one end of the spectrum, and there is other methodologies of trying to force a situation to adjust because people will not otherwise adjust their behavior. And I want to know what level of commitment you have to that, because it will impact how far we are able to get along the local first mission. So those are my questions.
Members, there's a small challenge. If you turn your mic off and then you turn your mic on again, unfortunately, you are no longer in the sequence.